Do a barrel roll.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to my man cave. It's Ransom today to talk about movies, and today we're going to be talking about Minions, which opens up nationwide on Friday. Now, big cast is attached to this one. We got Sandra Bullock, John Hamm, Michael Keaton has a small role. Of course, Pierre Coffin is back as the voice of the Minions. And my personal favorite is the narrator. He's only in the movie for about 10 minutes. It's narrated brilliantly by Jeffrey Rush, and he gives you kind of like a backstory of how the Minions came to be. It takes you all the way back to the dawn of time where life started on this planet. They start off as little adorable single-celled organisms, and you get the sense that even back then, these Minions wanted to be attached to the biggest, the baddest, and dare I say the most despicable enemy of their time. You see them serving everything from the T-Rex to Cro-Magnon Man to even Napoleon of France, but eventually they find themselves without somebody to serve, and it actually puts them in a really deep state of depression. Well, that's where one of the Minions named Kevin comes up with this brilliant idea. Why don't we just find somebody else to serve? So he, his friends Stuart and Bob embark on this journey, which leads them to the largest villain convention of all time. It's called VillainCon, held in Orlando, Florida, believe it or not. And that's where they run into Scarlet Overkill, who's played by Sandra Bullock, and end up becoming her henchman. Well, that's pretty much as much of the story as I want to talk about right now, because you're going to have to see the movie and you're going to have to find out for yourself. But I do want to say this. When the movie was first announced, I thought to myself, I'm sure a lot of you guys thought to yourself as well, how are these characters, how are these Minions, who have always been background characters, they've always been the mashed potatoes to Gru's steak, how are they going to carry a movie by themselves? Can they carry a movie by themselves? And quite simply, the answer to that is kind of, I guess, yes and no. I mean, it just depends on how old you are, because I'm just going to warn you parents right off the bat. This is going to be a movie that your kids are going to love much more than you are going to love. They don't do what the Despicable Me 1 and 2 did, where they give you a movie that's fun for both kids and adults. This is pretty much just fun for kids. There's very little there for adults. The Minions, I mean, they don't really talk. They have their own language, but every once in a while they throw in like a banana or something like that. They don't really talk though, so a lot of the movie is overly reliant on slapstick comedy. A lot of physical stuff. The kids are going nuts in my audience whenever a Minion would hit his head on something or fall down, but that's pretty much everything throughout the movie. That's like the only joke that these Minions really have. Now, before you think that I'm completely downing on this movie, I'm not. There was a couple of parts that actually got me to laugh, and I understand, you know, the people who are out there screaming at their screen right now, well, this is a kid's movie. That's what it's supposed to be. I get you. I understand your argument, but at the same time, there are other studios out there who are putting out these animated films that are fun not only for the kids, but also for the adults. Just a few weeks ago, we had Pixar's Inside Out. Fantastic movie. In my opinion, I think it's a perfect movie. And unfortunately, when you're a parent or you're an uncle and you're taking care of these small kids, you're going to be watching these movies a lot. And I just feel like adults are not going to enjoy this movie as much. Now, there's a couple of references, like the movie takes place in the 1960s, so there's like a Beatles reference, and there's a Richard Nixon reference, but they're not really jokes, they're references. So I didn't find myself laughing at this movie as much as I thought that I would. I found myself laughing a lot more in the first 10 minutes during the narration by Jeffrey Rush, because it almost felt like a really cool story that he was reading to us, and he did a great job narrating it, so that's why that's my favorite part of the movie. So that being said, I'm going to have to say Minions, kind of a disappointment for me. I was really expecting something fun for the entire family, and unfortunately that's not what I got here. So I'm going to have to give Minions a 6 out of 10. Kids are going to love it. You're not.